We're continuing in our summer series on neighboring. And the whole premise of this series is throughout the summer focusing on what are some intentional practices that we can engage in to help us move towards our neighbors, move towards the people we work with and live near and can even do recreational things in some form with. And so these practices this summer have been the first one of starting with prayer and like just having this prayerful posture, developing an awareness of where God might already be at work. Some listening practices of when we're with people, trying to listen way more than we talk to get to know their stories and help them feel cared for in that way, and even notice where God may be working in their lives. Eating with people, and just there's something different that happens when we break bread and share meals with people, and that might be socially distanced in the backyard or on the bolted down chairs on the boardwalk behind Roots and stuff like that, but there's something different when we're eating with people and talking. And then last week, Jody introduced this practice of bless, of serving people. And this week and the next week, we're going to continue to focus on that practice of blessing other people. And today, I want to talk about blessing, and it's kind of built on this idea of the difference between open lakes and stagnant ponds. An open lake is a beautiful thing, and we live in this incredible area where there's dozens and dozens of lakes all around us, and most of them have really clear, beautiful water. And a lot of the reason that's true is because they have inlets and outlets. They have water that's flowing into them and water that's flowing out of them. And this can happen because of springs and rivers and creeks and probably lots of other aquatic geographic terms that I don't know or understand. But there's this constant flow of water in and water out, and it helps keep the water clean and smooth and clear. On the other end of the spectrum, we have stagnant ponds. And this is a picture of a stagnant pond. Did you guys get that picture? You guys didn't get that picture in the email? Oh, there it is. Look at that beautiful water. Like when you walk up to that water, no one should ever drink out of that. No one should ever swim in that. That's the type of water that if you see it in Florida, there's probably a gator in that picture. You just can't tell right now. Stagnant water. Stagnant water, these stagnant ponds, it happens because sometimes there's an inlet into the water, but there's nowhere for the water to go, so it just sits there. And so over time, bacteria and algae and lots of other nastiness just builds up in the water, and it gets unsafe and gross, and it's because there's nothing flowing out. It's just stagnant and stale. The same substance that's beautiful and full of life-giving power loses its beauty and a lot of its purpose when it's stagnant and exists as just an end to itself. And I think it's the same way with the blessings that God gives us. We are blessed to be a blessing. That's our big idea for this morning. We are blessed to be a blessing. We aren't just blessed by God. It doesn't stop there. We are blessed in order to be a blessing. We are meant to be clear, open lakes of blessing, flowing the blessings that God gives us through us to other people. And when we don't do that, there's a part of us that becomes like a stagnant pond. We start to exist only for ourselves, and these gifts that he gives us become things that we hoard and protect, and these skills become things that we become prideful about, and we start to live in this scarcity mindset. And while a lot of times when we talk about these types of ideas about being blessed to be a blessing, we think of material things, it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger than just material. In James, we read that every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights. All the goodness and gifts we have in our life, from the very air we breathe to the time, skills, and resources we have, they're all gifts and blessings from God. And the question becomes, what do we do with the blessings? Do they flow through us, or do they come to us and sit stagnant as we clutch onto them and hold tightly? This idea of blessing is one of the major threads that exists throughout the scripture. The word blessing is used an insane amount of times. More than 500 times the word blessing appears in scripture. That's insane to me. Out of 66 books, over 500 times. And it goes from beginning to end. And one of the key points early on is in Genesis 12. And it says this. It's a story of Abram. The Lord had said to Abram, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all the peoples of the earth will be blessed through you." These three verses and the narrative that surrounds them represent a massive shift in human history. The concept of God being for us, the concept of God blessing us in order that we may be a blessing to other people was not common at the time. This is a fundamentally new idea and a new way to understand how God relates to humanity. Most, if not all of humanity at this time believed in lots and lots of tiny g little gods. Tons of little polytheistic gods. And these little gods often were over just like a singular area, like there was a rain god and a sun god and all these other types of little gods. And they also were locked into like territories, like they were the god of this land. They couldn't go from land to land. That's the way that most of the people viewed gods at this time. And these gods also were really angry and finicky. Like you had to figure out the right way to sacrifice to them and the right way to do things in order to make sure it rained, in order to make sure there was fertility, in order to make sure there was food. And all these types of things are based on trying to guess what all these little g gods needed from you. That's just the way that people thought at the time. And then this story of Abram comes along and God speaks to him and reveals loving universal monotheism. Not a myriad of little g gods, but the one true God. And he's actually for you, not against you. He's actually for you and not against you. It's a major shift. Moving from this idea that gods were little and small to big, one big God. One of the ways that I see this throughout the Old Testament is in the book of 2 Kings. There's a man named Naaman. Naaman's a super powerful general from a foreign land, and he has leprosy, and he comes and he gets healed in Israel. And when he wants to go back, he wants to continue to worship Yahweh. And so he packs up a bunch of dirt on the side of his mule to bring back with him. Because he's like, well, if I'm going to continue to worship Yahweh, I got to have some dirt from Israel with me. Gods were small and regional and locked down. This is the way they're viewing everything. Yet Yahweh speaks to Abram like, I am for you and I will bless you and you'll be a blessing to all nations and to all people. When Abraham heard this, I'm sure that there was this primary material picture in his mind, just like us. Like I'm going to have the biggest like ranches and the fattest cows and the largest camels. And clearly God is going to make me some sort of powerful ruler if I'm going to bless all nations. And while there was a lot of material blessing in Abraham, it was so much bigger than that. It wasn't just about material, it was about everything that God was blessing him with. Every blessing that comes from God is connected to a mission to serve others. Every blessing we receive from God is meant to serve some purpose as we serve and move towards other people. That includes finances, that includes our time, that includes the skills and talents we have. Every blessing that God has given us exists in a way that when we spread it through us, we allow it to work through us and live into serving other people, something happens inside of us. This clear water, lake water comes out instead of becoming a stagnant pond. The reality is that God is a source of all blessings in our lives, and we are created and called to bless others as those things flow through us. And this doesn't, I don't want to like diminish like suffering at the same time, right? Like this isn't a talk where what we're trying to do is like spiritually bypass the hard things in our lives right now. Like that's not about this. Like following God and receiving blessings from him and moving towards the world and blessing isn't ignoring the pain and suffering in our lives. It's just recognizing that there's a lot of things in our life that are really great. And there's a lot of ways that God has blessed us that we can serve and move towards other people. A pastor from Kansas City named Rob Wagner said it this way. He said, Jesus' plan is to transform us through blessing us. That Jesus' plan, one of the main ways that he'll transform us is by blessing us. And that blessing will only transform us when we allow it to go through us. That these blessings, these things, these gifts, these talents specifically that we're focusing on today, the transformation happens as we allow those things to flow through us, not just sit with us. Simply put, blessing plus serving others equals transformation. Blessing minus serving others equals stagnation. Blessing plus serving others equals open lakes and clear water flowing through us. Blessing without, blessing minus serving others is stagnant ponds full of algae, bacteria, selfishness, pride, and scarcity. You see, when we receive lots and blessings in our lives and we're not blessing others, it's going to lead to this spiritual stagnation that shuts down our development. It shuts down who Jesus dreams us to be. And the way that I've seen this in my life is when I'm constantly worried about getting the right information, getting the right head knowledge, learning all the right things and making sure my individual connection with Jesus is strong. And there's no moving towards anybody. There's no serving towards anybody. I get stuck in this world where I'm only thinking about what I want and what I need. And it's always more of what I already have. I need more money, I need more things, I need more knowledge, I need more Bible studies, I need more of the things I already have. And without this output, without this moving towards being a blessing towards other people, there's this transformation that I'm robbing myself of. When the mind muscles are so strong in us that we can't see outwards, we hoard and hold up the blessings God has for us. Like it's this picture, right? When your kids are little, like 3-ish, 4-ish years old, maybe sometimes even a little younger, the mind games begin, right? Like everything's mine. I do it. And there's this pride where they start to fight you on everything. Mine, mine, mine. It's my toy. It's my this. It's my that. And at that age, that's actually really healthy development for them. It's annoying, and it's not fun to fight them, especially when you can't reason with them yet. But there's this thing that's really good for them to start to learn to develop their own ego and their own personality and their own uniqueness. But when that exists in us as 40-year-olds, there's a problem. When we don't mature past that, there's a problem. This is a hard thing for us in the States. Like our society is built on such a strong individualism that it's hard not to just get stuck in this mindset. Like one of the ways that I see it illustrated a lot in neighborhoods in kind of a silly way is that everybody needs to have their own little push-behind fertilizer spreader. You know the thing that costs like $20 at Home Depot that you use twice a year? That everyone in your neighborhood needs to have their own instead of like you guys just like using each other's? Because individualism drives how we think. And so we get stuck in this place where the gifts and the blessings that God has given us, we start to view them as things that are just for us. And we miss what God could be doing through us in our neighborhoods, in our workplaces, and in our own lives as we learn to live for the sake of other people. So what does it look like to serve other people with the gifts, skills, and abilities that we have? It first starts with a change of perspective. It first starts just acknowledging that like God has blessed me to be a blessing to other people. It's not just He's blessed me. It's an understanding that it's going to take us surrendering some of our time, surrendering some of our preferences to live for other people. Jody talked about it last week, that God invites us to surrender our time to be conduits of blessing to others. It begins with a leaving. Like this was true for Abraham, right? Like it said, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. Then I will bless you, and you will bless others. It starts with a moving out. And for most of us, it's probably not going to involve moving out in the ways of like having to leave everyone we know and move far across the country. For some of us, it has. But it's leaving what's normal, leaving what's comfortable. Maybe it's moving, like getting out of your cubicle once in a while and talking to people around you and really getting to know them. Maybe it's noticing that the person that's in the same coffee shop as you, probably outside right now, but you see them every single time and actually being open, taking your earbuds out. This is what I'm bad at. I go to coffee shops to hide from people. I like the distractions. I have ADHD, and so when busyness is around me, it helps me focus. So I put earbuds in and I don't want to talk to anybody when I'm in coffee shops. I guarantee there's lots of opportunities to serve people that I've completely missed being sucked into my own earbuds and computer in those places. It's being willing to notice where God might be calling you to lean towards other people. A move from the comfortable to the uncomfortable sometimes. You see, when we live in this way, when we serve other people, it has this ability to move people from just acquaintances to friends. And when we're at that place, it's often where we can start to really notice how God's at work in their lives and our lives and be able to name those things together. So what do you have? What skills and abilities do you have that could be blessings to other people? What things do you enjoy doing or are you talented at that may be blessings? Maybe you're handy and there's some people in your neighborhood who could use some help. And that doesn't involve you going up to them and saying, hey, your house is really broken down and ugly and I'm good at fixing things. But maybe it's getting to know them. And if they are working on something, saying, hey, like, can I help you? Maybe it's you're really good at a musical instrument and there's some people in your neighborhood that you could offer lessons to. Maybe you have time and energy to help parents this fall as they try to figure out what schooling is going to look like in 2020 to help come alongside and support them and help tutor kids and things like that. You know, we're hopeful. We don't know what it's going to look like yet. We're hopeful to see what the student mentoring KC shapes out to be this fall, because this is a season. I know my wife is a teacher this fall. Like there was a couple students where she would take time just one day a week to build Legos with them over Zoom because that's what they were missing, was connection with other people. Maybe there's a kid in your neighborhood or through the student mentoring that you could just spend time with, get to know the families. One way that this has been true in my life that I've noticed in the last few years has to do with mowing yards. So I love mowing. It makes me a very stereotypical suburb man, but I think mowing is one of the most fun things I can do because I get to lock into that solo space again, right? Because I grew up on 4 acres of just field, so it took like 3 hours to mow it every single week, and it was usually my job after the time I was probably 12-ish or something. Ever since I've been married and moving around the country, I've always lived in houses without a yard, or the landlords have taken care of the yard, so I've kind of missed mowing. In the house we live in now, we've lived there since 2014, and about 3 years ago, I was talking to the couple who manages the property. Our house is combined with a church property, so it's kind of all together, this little Presbyterian church in our house, pretty big yard. And the couple who manages it, we call them the Terrys because they're both named Terry, both the husband and wife. So Mr. Terry and Mrs. Terry. And one day I was talking to Mr. Terry, and I was asking him how he was doing, and he's like, yeah, Mrs. Terry's going in for surgery pretty soon. She's going to be out of commission for a while. And I knew that she's the one that usually mowed. I'm like, well, do you guys want me to mow for you? He's like, that'd be incredible. And like in my head, I'm like, yeah, I've wanted to mow for you for 3 years already. I like mowing. And so over the last 3 years, like once a week-ish, I show up at their house just down the road from me. I jump on their zero-turn mower, drive it down the road to my house and mow. And it's presented these incredible opportunities to get to know them more and more and more. And these times where I'm dropping off and picking up, I get to talk to them and ask them how their lives are going. I get to know their stories and their family's stories a little bit. I get to be there to encourage them through hard times and pray for them when things are going crazy in their life. And it's been this incredible relationship that's developed for us. Because I was willing to mow. I don't know what it is for you, but I'm sure there's people in your lives, in your neighborhoods, in your workplaces where it would be a blessing for you to show up in a very normal way. Maybe it's a mower or a hammer or a baking pan or folding laundry or tutoring or a number of things that I don't even know or can't think of right now. Maybe it's even acknowledging an area where you could use help. Like maybe you're the person with the broken stuff on your house and you know someone in the neighborhood's good at that. And you can ask them to teach you. Like allowing yourself to be the person who gets served is going to often bring about the same thing. This chance for relationship, this chance to move towards people, this chance to notice where God's at work. Because the thing that happens is you spend more time with people, then the conversations that are moved beyond the surface and are spiritual in nature start to happen naturally as we lean in. Instead of feeling like this weird bait and switch. Maybe it's asking a neighbor to help you. And I think it's important, like, I think we get stuck sometimes, I should rename that. I get stuck sometimes only focusing on the people I already know. Serving those I already know. And I think there's this important, like, breathing rhythm to serving people. Like, we should be breathing in and serving the people in our faith community and that we already know in our families. Yes, that's true. But we have to breathe out too. And move towards people who are outside of our norm, outside of our regular circles, outside of this church family. God is working all around us, even in this season, unsurprisingly. And so we have to develop the eyes to see and then move towards people with service and love because we are blessed to be a blessing, not just to be blessed and hoard it to ourselves. So your homework with this week is pretty simple. I'd love for you to engage it. Take an opportunity to use your talents to be a blessing to someone this week. And listen, I named mowing as a talent, right? Like this isn't like I'm an expert knitter and I'm going to teach someone to knit. If that's true of you, great. But just something that you know how to do. Somewhere where you see a need in the community around you, your neighbors, your coworkers, your friends, where you see a need and you can step into that. Take a step this week towards somebody by using a talent or a skill or the lack of to bless somebody. My hope for us as a church is that we continue to figure out what it looks like in every season to be these open lakes where the blessings that God flows into our lives like clean rivers flow out of us towards other people, and we don't become these stagnant ponds where we just hoard everything to ourselves and get so self-focused. I pray that we would be the type of people and the type of church that cares about the things that God cares about and moves towards those in our community, even those who might not be just like us, with love. Like this is what's interesting to me when I think about Abraham, is that he moved, when God says, I'll make you a blessing to all nations, at that time, all nations meant lots of enemies. It's not like they were all these like getting along people groups. They were constantly fighting and warring with each other. He's like, God's like, as I move through you, you're going to be a blessing to all nations, even those who are different, even those who might be enemies. So this week, lean into that, please. Consider doing that. Consider sharing a God's story. We'd love to hear how God's at work in your life next week. Will you pray with me? Jesus, thank you for your love. Thank you for the way you lived on this earth and just showed that God's heart from the beginning has been about being a blessing for the sake of blessing, so that we can be a blessing to other people. Help us to not get stuck in this hoarding position. That we know that the gifts that you've given us, our talents, our skills, our abilities, all the things that we have exist in a way that they're connected to your mission, to serve the world. Pray that you would give us clear eyes to who you're inviting us to move towards this week, and that you'd give us the courage to step out in the uncomfortable ways. We love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have an incredible week, and we'll see you soon.